Hello, everybody. This is Narrative Tarot. I'm here for your Taurus season tarot reading. So, comment, like, subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing monthlies, the planet monthlies soon, as well as the Scorpio full moon reading. So, subscribing definitely keeps you in the loop for that. That's it. Let's get into it. So, for Taurus, because it's ruled by Venus, I'm going to use two decks that I associate with Venus, which are Zilich, I don't know how to pronounce it, Tarot, and the Everyday Tarot. So usually these readings are put into two sections. The first section is kind of like an overview, and then the second part is kind of more specific. But yeah. So, information for Taurus season. Okay. In the upper world, we have the Hermit. The lower world, we have Justice. So, what I'm getting here is that you would do well to simply go within or retreat or just not act in any way. I kind of want this one right here. Instead of seeking justice out, it's almost like doing that really sets you up for maybe, because it's kind of like a bare chest right here, some sort of exposure that you may not be interested in doing at the moment. It's almost like it accelerates some sort of, I don't want to say purification process, but some sort of exposal kind of process. Yeah, so this is the Judgment card. There we go. This is the Justice card because they have keywords. So, but Justice is actually here. It's kind of funny. You would do well, yeah. So you would do well, still stands, to not call things out, to not put things on blast, to not expose or do exposés or do gossip. I guess this kind of period for Taurus season is not about gossip. It's not about talking about people or talking about things which are unable to be worked on at the moment. It's almost like this Prince of the Swords is looking kind of like it doesn't make any sense. And indeed, it doesn't really make any sense. So Taurus season, it would be best to just kind of go within and maybe stay away from like the gossipy friends, or stay away from like the people that are always in drama or always in something or always looking for something. It's almost like stay away from the people that are insecure, stay away from the people that maybe watch too much tarot, I don't know. Stay away from me, guys. But seriously, I think this is just, Taurus season doesn't seem like the time to have a bunch of questions. Even with the Scorpio full moon, it doesn't seem like it's a time to ask a lot of questions. It's like the questions that you have to ask are very pointed and directed and are expecting a result or solution or an answer to come about. This isn't one where like you ask a question and then you just go with the flow of whatever it is. Like there's a specific outcome you're looking for. So you might want to work your question like backwards. Like, and I told my grandmother this, like when you go to places, when they ask you what can you do for this, what can we do for you today, have a goal in mind. Say, I am coming here to get this, and this done, instead of saying, well, I have a problem with this. Like, let them know this is what you're expecting to get done, and that way you can work it back. Maybe all of this stuff won't get done or answered or solved But usually when you have, it's almost like you have to have it in mind, and you kind of have to be self-directed in a way to where you're not asking, I guess, for the person to offer you questions to ask, or offer you like putting words in your mouth. So if you were to, an example is going to like a store, like an electronic store, and you want to get a new phone with a premium plan that allows you to make international calls or something like that. When you go there, they're saying, "Oh, what can I help you with today?" or things like that. What can I help you with today? Don't answer, "I want a new phone." Say, "I need to upgrade from this to this, from this phone to this phone. This is what I want. The plan that I want is premium, and I want the ability to have international calls." Saying that, specifying that, bullseyeing that allows them to, one, not upsell you on some bullshit, but then two, it allows you to look kind of competent enough to engage and have a dialogue with. So this isn't the time period to be like lackadaisical or taking a back seat. I think Taurus, just because Taurus comes off as like earth and slow moving, things like that, it's very directed. It knows what it wants. It sees what it wants. For me, I say that Scorpio and Taurus are on the axes of landscape, of seeing things, of noticing shifts in your landscape, and that's why transformation can come really, really well with Scorpio, because you're seeing it. So transformation is kind of like, with Scorpio, it's more of, you already saw the transformation coming. You either prepared for it or you didn't, but you saw it coming. You saw the writing on the wall. If you chose not to do anything about it, then transformation confronts you. But if you do see that it's coming, you prepare and then go confront it. And it's the same way with Taurus, but they just kind of do it in different ways. Generally, it's about day-to-day things, your money, finances, your land, things like that. So weeds, gardening, look out for that. Just, it's very proactive. It's a very proactive time. Don't call it quits with this Justice card as well. Stick it out with this Hangman here, because the answers are going to come. So with Justice, the answers are going to come. They're just going to come when you're a lot more calm, when you're a lot more centered. A lot more able to take on the task yourself, perhaps, instead of having to have a collaborative kind of effort being made. So wait it out, stick it out, make sure that you are taking the necessary steps with the Hermit as well. You have plenty of time to reflect, plenty of time to slow down. I know there's a lot of planets in Aries right now, but they're going to be shifting. So right now we have Uranus in there, and now we have Taurus. Not Taurus, Venus in Taurus. Mars is still in Gemini. Pluto's still in Cap. Where else? Neptune's still in Pisces, but a lot of stuff is in Aries right now. But that'll be moving out. So no harsh decisions, no rush decisions, no decisions based on jealousy, envy, revenge, retaliation, things like that. Just because it doesn't make sense with this Princess of Swords. This looking is just like, it doesn't make sense. So you have to also look out for things that don't make sense. So don't make sense. It's just like, when you say don't make sense, it's kind of like you have to see the end in mind. And so if you have point A, point B, but there's no connecting kind of like route for that, then it doesn't make sense. So if there's things that don't connect with this Hanged Man, because this is Neptunian energy, if there's things that don't connect, then it doesn't make sense, and it's probably well to not go for it or rush it and wait for the proper things to come in to fall into place for you to do it, because rushing out there disturbs your peace of mind, and it just puts you in situations where you have to clean it up, and you don't want to have to do that if you don't have to. So make it make sense is going to be probably your motto. Make it make sense. It's probably going to be like the motto of the month or the motto of the season. Doing things alone will probably be helpful. Not to the point where, like, if you need help, you don't reach out because you don't want to look vulnerable. But I think having a goal in mind for yourself when you interact with people and working it back and expressing that this is what you want, this is the end goal that you actually want, as opposed to we'll see as it go, this is the end goal that you want. It helps either to achieve it or not, put it aside, regain your, not momentum, but recalibrate if necessary. Things like that. So Taurus is very much determined to be stable, because this Hermit card is definitely isolating you. That's a great thing. The bottom of the deck, we have 5 of Cups, disappointment. It may not be a great, like, Taurus season, and what I mean by that is, I think Aries season, a lot of people, a lot of, especially like readers, are talking about like rebirth and renewal and stuff like that. Now it's kind of more of anchoring. So you may feel a little bit alone. You may feel like you can't reach out to people. If you do feel like that, definitely take some time to reevaluate what you're doing, how you're doing it, what the end goal is, what you think the end goal is. The 10 of Wands, oppression came out, and 10 of Swords at the bottom, or at the top with ruin. So just make sure that your mental health is in the right space. Make sure that you are reaching out if you need help. But there's some things that you're probably just going to have to wait on in terms of flipping the switch or going forward with it. And it's just to make sure that your mind is clear enough on where you're going or what the end result is going to be, so that you can go for it and things can fall into place and not be so hurried or rushed or anything like that. I know Gemini may be affecting this with regards to Mars, maybe affecting it. And so just making sure, if you do use technology, if you do use processes and systems that are stratified across the globe or stratified across the internet or whatever, that you consolidate it enough to where you're not over extending yourself, myself included, because I have a lot of stuff and a lot of different things. So making sure that you have a system, a schedule, making sure that you have days where you're not working or not working as much, or the tasks that you do, certain days are lighter or can be done at a slower pace as opposed to expedited. That would be really helpful. This is just more about getting your ducks in a row. So, Magus, the Magician, making sure that your ideas make sense. Make sure that your ideas are coming from a clear landscape, of coming from a clear mind. There's not a lot of baggage of having to prove something to someone, of having to, this 10 of Wands came out again, of having to prove something to people. What is this one? This is Justice again. Just making sure that the stuff that you have isn't based on self-worth or self-imaging related to someone else, that it's your own landscape, that you're trying to make it your own world, that you're trying to make it's not your mom's, your dad's, your cousins, your society at large, your village, your town, your city, your school. Like, it's yours, because that means that you'll be a lot more interested in doing it. So 7 of Cups, Prince of Swords. Just making sure that you're looking at what makes you happy, what makes you go for it. The Ten of Cups and then the Tower, making sure that when you pull the trigger on stuff, the things that work, Queen of Wands, work for you and are of you. And then the Empress, make sure that that stuff is coming. And then we have Death, which is a great thing. Make sure that when this stuff is done, it's done. The Moon, Five of Swords, defeat. So definitely check this out with the Five of Swords and the Moon. Making sure that you aren't having a lot of self-defeating thoughts. Scorpio, full moon might be helpful for you to release this kind of stuff, or it may come up in your psyche. Five of Discs, worry. It might come up in your psyche. With this Tower card, there may be some things, and the Death, it may be some things clearing out that causes you to see a landscape which you've been trying to avoid, and it means that you have now, going forward, the ability to rebuild. But there's some things that you may be putting in your way that cloud the landscape, or you may be allowing certain things to grow, certain weeds to grow, not tending to things, you know. And then when you really need the space, you really need things to grow, you have to kind of go back to the drawing board by cutting things down, by trimming them, by weeding, pruning. And this landscape now takes double the time that it would have had you been in the right frame of mind. But if you're not in the right frame of mind and then you suddenly get there, just focus on the task at hand as opposed to simply regretting everything, because that's not going to help either. So Taurus and Scorpio, but Taurus season, you're going to just have to confront things that hold you down, that weigh you down, and that create landscapes, create visions, create spaces and tensions that look nice sometimes but aren't actually helpful. Okay. So now it's the second one. I really don't know what else to say, but okay, so I'm kind of feeling it's you. Oop, Nine of Pentacles. And as easy as that thing flipped is as easy as things can turn if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So we have things that are kind of like around you. So we have Five of Wands, Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, Ten of Wands reversed. So for Taurus season, definitely make sure that you're choosing things that bring clarity. This Ace of Cups and Ace of Swords. Ace of Cups isn't clarity as in like, in my mind, I know this is a surefire way. It's kind of more like faith that it's going to work out based on it being from your heart and being kind of like your highest good shining forth. It may not be shining forth with your words. It may not be shining forth as in you're putting concerted effort, but it's kind of like the beginning stages of it. It's just a feeling. You have Strength reversed in the Star. So if you've lost strength about certain things, how things go, it would be a great time to regain faith or rebuild faith and rebuild trust in other people, I think. Because you may have lost trust in other people with the Star. And I'll do it myself kind of attitude. There's certain things that, yes, because of the Nine of Pentacles, that's how you are. that you are going to do yourself, and you do need to do yourself in Taurus season. But like I said, if there are certain things that are agitating you or harming you, you need help with, you don't see it quite as clearly, then definitely the most clear thing you could do is to ask someone who does have that clarity, and they'll come up with something that helps you with this. Now, you may in Taurus season also have to get clear on who you can go to for certain things, who you can talk about certain things. If you're talking to someone like a friend who is always moving out of apartments, they never seem to choose a good one, they always are having issues with their partner, you might not want to be going to these people for advice for certain things. You wouldn't want to go to your friend that's always getting evicted or always ending up losing their home or something like that for like financial advice. Like maybe that's not the person. So that is a sort of clarity that needs to happen as well. You need to get clear on who you can actually go to. And that's another clearing out the landscape. And I kind of think distilling people to their purest forms or their simplest forms, even if you have to go through people in your phone or a list of people you know and literally put down bullet points of qualities and then bullet points of areas of life that you tend to talk about in a non-gossip, non-judgmental way, where you actually are genuinely getting advice and giving advice. So I think doing that would actually help. Take out a sheet of paper, write down all the people that you kind of interact with on a regular basis, not people you haven't talked to in like forever, but like a regular basis. Write out some bullet points of good qualities that they have: integrity, responsibility, communication, things like that. And then right next to it, the area of life in which they tend to have those things shine forth the most. And do that with their qualities that are more gossipy, judgmental, less informed, more vague, and put the areas where they are that, right? So somebody can be really great at giving you love advice. They may not be the best for financial advice, and that's okay, but you're able to form a landscape of who you can go to. You kind of see who you can be around for certain things, and you can see who you can rely on. You can see who you kind of are disjointed with, right? Disjointed from or whatever. It's making sure you understand that about yourself and about others, and you can ask people to do it for you as well. And that way, maybe you want to talk about that if you haven't had a close relationship with people. Maybe you're fighting with the Five of Wands and you want to lay down the burden, and doing that, you might come to some sort of meeting to have that worked out, some sort of reconciliation. But it comes from being honest and knowing that the end result is, the end game that you have is to have someone in your life that is able to give to you as much as you give to them. And so I think that's it for Taurus season. It's very pragmatic. It's very, I won't say to the point. This is like 30 minutes, right? But it's pretty pragmatic, straightforward, honest, open, vulnerable, and isn't going to back down from that. The energy isn't like hard, but the energy is strong in boundary, and it's strong in integrity. It means what it says what it means, and you would do well in Taurus season to keep that in mind with people. So I hope that you enjoyed this Taurus season video, and like I said, comment, like, subscribe to narrative_tarot. I do have a blog also. It's called The Red. I just posted new blogs on that. It's more of a wound centered space. So if you want to explore that, the link will be in the description. And yeah, I hope you have a great Taurus season, and I'll see you when I start doing the planet monthlies. So take care. Bye.